Now, to recap this game, I was a bit too slow on getting the exact damage in my one of my last turns, and I almost lost just for that, just for being too slow at calculating damage. I probably need to find a quicker way to make the counts. Apart from that, it's interesting how my plan was in Mirror just to get an OTK, since especially against Reno, you need to do an OTK. Because let's look at that this way. I wasn't able to kill him in one turn. If he Reno, I am most likely dead, because I can't kill him a second time. So I really need the OTK. That's the reason I would keep the Mirage Caller and all the other OTK species. But I was just forced to play the Mirage Caller, because I had to do the damage to the board and kill everything, or I was just dead. That's still another of those cases where it's proven that Mind Blast is far worse than choosing cards like Mirage Caller that can play double duty both in the mid and early game and late game. Still, by playing the deck for a bit, I have grasped another important tip on this choice, however. I used to say that using Flash Shield and Embrace the Shadow is better in every way compared to Mind Blast. That's actually false. It's better generally because you have two cards that are decent on their own. They're not good because they are both not that incredible, but still are decent. Especially Flash Shield, but also Embrace the Shadow in combination with Circle of Healing. Well, you know the things. Still, there are two cards that are decent and not completely useless as Mind Blast. Well, Mind Blast can be cycled with gadgets, but mostly useless. But in those games where, like against Control, where you need to keep your cards till the end, they are a bit worse. Because if you have Mind Blast, you just need to keep Mind Blast. So that's a card locked in your hand till the end. If instead you have both Flash Shield and Embrace the Shadow instead of Mind Blast, that's two cards locked in your hand until the end of the game. So, after all, it's a sort of a choice. Do you want a card that is useless against every deck, but just good as an OTK option against Control? Or do you prefer two cards that are flexible, which are flexible both against Control and aggro, but that if you want to use against Control as OTK, they are worse than Mind Blast because they are locked till the end of your game? That's a slightly that's just the only minor defect of choosing these two cards, but I really think that they are better because, as you can see in this game we have played just now, we were against a Control deck against which we really wanted to play the OTK option, but still we just needed to play another way, otherwise we would have lost mid-game. But nevertheless, we still had the power to win in the end of the game. Now, don't mind the fact that you didn't have a Reno. That's not really important for our discussion because I had absolutely the damage output to kill him the turn earlier. It wasn't just for the rope, so just get the fact it was dead from 30 health. That was not an issue. But still, I was able to win because of that flexibility, even if that would normally mean keep 2 slots locked in your hand against control instead of 1. But mostly against control you draw a lot of cards, and you don't play in cards every turn necessary, and you really focus on your draw engine. For example, you can easily go for something like Pyromancer with Northside Cleric, Circle of Healing, which draws you a bunch of cards, something that you can't just permit yourself to do against aggro, because you need both Pyromancer and Circle of Healing with Embrace the Shadow to control the board. So against aggro, you must lose some of your draw power, and instead against control you can use your draw engine to full throttle, and then having 2 slots locked instead of 1, it's not really so harmful to your game playing. That's my way of thinking this deck and these choices, at least. You can think otherwise, because indeed there is some minor defect in playing these 2 cards. But since they also combine so well with Circle of Healing and Flash Heal, which is also a very nice way to draw cards from Action Ear or Ear for a Tome for Prophet Velen, and at the very worst, in some cases, you can also Binding Ear under Embrace the Shadow to kill something for some minion for 5 damage, even if you suffer 5 damage yourself, which is not something you want to do every time, but may be the correct choice sometime. There are this nice combination that if you want to instead play Mind Blast, that would probably mean ditching Flash Heal. Not because you couldn't play both Mind Blast and Flash Heal. I did used to run both for a time, but I just felt that Mind Blast was not needed. But if you instead think that Mind Blast is superior, which in a minor amount of cases I think it is, but it's very minor in my own opinion, in my humble opinion at least, then I think you would probably prefer not to run Flash Heal, because Flash Heal is very good since it can work as an OTK. If you leave that role to Mind Blast, it's still a nice heal, but I think that you would probably prefer to put away the whole Flash Heal portion of the whole Flash Heal, Embrace the Shadow, Circle of Healing package, and probably put the portion of how's it called, the one that shrink minions, just forgetting the name, sorry, and the Power Word horror, with maybe even oh come on, I can just get the name, and the Cabal Shadow of Rice. However, that would really change the deck and make me question Pyromancer too, because without Circle of Healing combined with Northside Cleric, loses some of its power. yeah, can you see everything is really connected in a combo deck. So when you decide to do something big like like putting in Mind Blast and taking away Flash Heal, this choice reflects in like 4 or 5 other cards, and that's a big slice of your deck. So that would make the deck probably turn a lot towards that standard deck lists. You would probably still play Emperor Taurishan and and Mirage Caller, but then I could probably think about removing Auctioneer, because you would lose Circle of Healing, Flash Heal, Embrace the Shadows, a lot of spells, and in that case I would put Lyra back in. Because even if I think Auctioneer is better than Lyra, in a deck with not enough spells, this deck actually runs now 14 spells, which are a lot, but if you go down to 10, 12 spells, probably then the Gaijin Auctioneer is not really reliable, and you need Lyra, because the Lyra, every time you trigger Lyra, you get another spell, so you are sure that as long as you don't get spells that are too much expensive, you can keep on cycling spells, and then I would probably put Lyra back in. Well, I think I'll just take a break of a couple of minutes, and